So in the last episode, we were able to get data for our dynamic routes and logged it to the console. And in this episode, I want us to take this data and be able to display it on the UI. Now, when we explore the kind of data that we have here, you'll see that we have different kind of data. We have a summary, slug, and this is just a string, which we can show directly on the UI. We have the image, and then we have the content. Now for the content, it looks kind of different because this is rich text and it's being displayed in a different format, where you will see that it is displayed in form of arrays here, and the first array is a paragraph, the node type, and then the content is also displayed in an array. So we'll have to find a way of displaying this data correctly on our UI, and Contentful provides us with a library. So first of all, we are going to install that library. So what I'll do, I'll just go to the text editor and I'll open a new terminal, and let's install a library which will help us to display the rich text content. Okay, so right here I'll say npm I, and right here we'll say at Contentful, and then stroke rich hyphen text hyphen react hyphen renderer, and this is an npm library which is provided by Contentful for us to be able to display that rich text content. And then I also need us to install other two libraries. The first one will be a library that will help us to display the embedded content. So that includes the code block and embedded images inside the rich text content. So I'm going to install at Contentful stroke rich hyphen text hyphen types, and then I'll also install React Highlight, and this will help us to use Highlight.js for us to include awesome highlights on our code block. So there we go, 3 libraries. The first one will help us to display the rich text content. The next one will help us to show the embedded assets, and then this one will help us to style our code blocks inside the rich text content. So I'll go ahead and install those, and then let's continue right here. So what we have currently, it's just a React fragment with a heading. So what I'll do, I'll just remove the heading and I'll change this one into a div, and I'll give it a class name of blog content. And then in here we can add a back button. So I'll include a button and I'll say back, and right here I can give it a class name. So I'll say class name of back hyphen btn, and we will have an on-click event. So I'll add an on-click event to this button, and what we'll make use of is the router right here, which we were already getting from the use router hook. So I want to be making use of this slug, so I'll remove that one, and now right here I'll call an arrow function, and it will call router dot back, and then I'll just invoke that. So when we click that particular back button, it will take us back to the list of our blogs. So after this, I'll add another tag here, and I'll call it article. Now this is for the content, so I'll say article, and the first thing that we will display is the thumbnail. So for the thumbnail, I can just come to index.js and postcard, that is where we were displaying a thumbnail as well. So I'll go ahead and copy this one, and I'll come right here and I'll paste it here. Now we need to destructure the properties from our post, so let's do that. So right here I'll destructure the title, I'll destructure the summary, I will also destructure content, and I'll destructure the thumbnail, and I'll set this to be equal to our post dot fields. And then now down here at the image, so this will be the URL, but I'll change the width and the height right here. So I'll go ahead and remove the responsiveness, and when we inspect the image at our browser, So the thumbnail right here will have fields, and then inside the fields we will have the file, and inside the file we will have the details, and inside the details we'll have image, and right here is where we have the height and the width of the image. So we need to access this. Okay, so it's a long way to go, but let's do that. So right here we will have the width as this thumbnail, and then dot fields, and then dot file, and let me first copy that and paste it here. And then after the file we will have details, and then after details we will have the image, and then we will have the width. And then I'll copy this one and paste it here, and I'll replace the width with the height. So that is the thumbnail that we are displaying at the top of our article. I'll go ahead and save just to auto format. And then after the thumbnail, I can include a header tag right here. And for this header tag, I'll include a H1. And for the H1, we can include the title. So right here, I'll have the title. And then we will have the summary after the title. So I'll include a P tag, and I'll include a summary. And then after that, now it's the rich text content. So first of all, let me fix this. So after this is the rich text content, and what I can do after the header, I can include a section tag. I'll give it a class name of article, or you can give it any other. And right here is where I want us to display the rich text content. So we can't directly display it like we did right here, and that is the reason why we installed some libraries. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll import something from Contentful now. So I'll say import, and I'll import what we call a document to React components, and this will come from our @contentful, and then a stroke rich hyphen text hyphen React. I don't know why I'm not getting a suggestion that I have to type all this. So I'll make sure that they were actually installed correctly, and we actually have errors, so they were not installed. So it failed to install React highlight for some reason, so I misspelled it. Let me go ahead and redo this. I don't know what just happened, so I'll change this one to highlight. I'll make sure yours is correct, and I'll go ahead and install it. So as that installs, I'm importing document to React components, and now I can make use of this to format the rich text content. So I'll copy that, and down here where we are displaying the article, I'll make use of that, and I'll go ahead and invoke it and pass our content in here. So we destructured content, so I'll pass it in here, and I'll make sure that they are installed because we might still have some issues. So added 4 packages, so they were successfully installed now. Okay, cool. So now we are able to import this and be able to format our content using it. So far so good, and let's see if we can be able to see our data. I'll save that, and I'll go back to our app here, and failed to construct image. So image is not showing up, but what I'll do, I'll make sure that I import that component. Import image from Next.image. So I'll go ahead and save, and let's see what we have. Okay, there we go. So now we have the back button here. It's supposed to be an image. It's taking time to load, and then now down here we have our content, and you can see now the rich context is showing up, and this is now so cool. Now I can go ahead and style this, and then I'll show you the issues that we have with embedded assets, and we'll try to resolve them. So let's go ahead and style what we have at the moment. So before closing the div, I'll include the style tag right here, and I'll give it the JSX attribute, and we use some curly brackets and backticks, and now we can write our styles right here. So the first thing that I'll do, I'll select the blog hyphen content, and I'll give it a background of RGBA, and I'll use these values 243, 244, 246, and 1. And then I'll give it a padding of 20px, and I will give it a border radius of about 7px. Let's go ahead and select our back hyphen btn, and I can save this to auto format so that it's more readable. Now we will have several styles for this one, so I'll start by including a cursor of pointer, and then we will have an outline of none. I will remove the border. I'll set the background to be black, and let's give it a padding of 7px and 12px, and then let's have a color of white and margin to the bottom of 2rem. And lastly, I'll select the thumbnail, and we'll give it some margin top and bottom of 20px and 0. So I'll go ahead and save, and hopefully I haven't misspelled anything. Let's see what we have. And this is what we have. So we have some spacing now between the thumbnail and the image. We have a back button nicely styled, so pretty nice. Now let's try to add an embedded asset in our rich text content. So inside the contentful, we can go ahead and select one of these one. I'll go with a Next.js tutorial, and once I scroll down here at our rich text content, we can be able to add all this cool stuff. But the issue is that when we try to embed an image, so I'll come right here and add an asset. So I'll go ahead and select one of these. It doesn't matter which one, but the thing is we are embedding an image right here. Okay, I'll say for beginners to make sure that we made the change, and I'll go ahead and publish. So once we publish, I can come to Next.js right here, and I can do a refresh of the first one. Okay, I'll go to the list. The one that we changed is this one, so I'll click on this one, and once we get to more details about it, here is the image, the thumbnail that is, and then this is what we just added for beginners. But now down here we can see our embedded image. Now when you explore the object that you are getting right here, you'll come and see that we have this embedded asset block. Okay, and this embedded asset block is our image, which we are not being able to see it. So what we should do is that we can make use of another contentful library, which we just installed actually, to be able to show those embedded assets. Okay, and right here I can go ahead and import something, and what I'll import is import, and I'll use curly brackets, I'll say blocks, and then now right here it's coming from the rich text types. Okay, and then we have a blog explaining this in contentful. So if you search for contentful.com embedded, you'll see that there is this particular blog post right here, rendering linked assets and entries in the rich text field. So if you click on that, you'll see more information about this. I'll scroll down and you'll see it's explaining how you can embed videos, images, or even a blog post and code blocks. Okay, so we have all the information here, And I'll leave a link to this blog post at the description section below so that you can also explore it, because I don't want to explain everything that is happening here. And you can see also the type of data, how it's being arranged and stuff. And I'll scroll to where we are having example, the exact example of how to display our image and our code blocks. So we haven't added a code block yet, but we'll add it in a few. So what we are supposed to do is to import blocks from contentful rich text types, and then we are supposed to include a render options, and these render options will be added at our document to React components as a second parameter. Okay, so here is the content, and then the second parameter is our render options. So what I want to do is to copy whatever we have here, and I'll go ahead and copy up to the render options. I'll copy that, I'll come back right here, and before our return statement, I can go ahead and paste it here. And let's explore what we have. So we have render option, and then we have render node. So this is the format that Contentful provides. You can go through it if you want to understand further. And right here we have inline entries that include blog posts, but we are not using this kind of entries right now. So I'll go ahead and remove this one. And then after that we have embedded entry, and these include the code block and also video embedded. So in our case, we'll be adding a code block in a few, but we are not going to add a video. So if you'll be adding videos, you can as well include it, but for now I'll just keep it simple, remove that. This is just to show you around. And then now we have this embedded asset, and this embedded asset is for the image. And how Contentful is knowing all this is because these are available in the properties of our fields or content. At our browser here, you'll see that we have these node types, embedded asset block. So Contentful is using this to determine whether it's block level, whether it's embedded asset, and so on. And we don't have to worry about that. So in this case, this is embedded asset and its blocks. And right here, we are including the path of that particular image. So we don't need to do anything with this actually. So I'll go ahead and leave it the way it is. And why you have this option is so that you can be able to include some class names if you want to style this further. So you can go ahead and include a class name right here, but you wouldn't be able to do that by just displaying the rich content like this, because you don't have a way to access the image directly. You are just displaying the content in general. But now why we have these options is so that you can be able to add class name to this one and be able to style it accordingly, like we will be doing with our code block right here. So now I'll go ahead and save this, and then I'll include the render options right here as the second parameter of our document to React components right here. So I'll just paste it and save. Now when I come back right here, you'll see that now our image is loading, which is inside the rich text content, and it's embedded there. And it's actually so huge, so we can try to find a way of styling it. So what I'll do, we already have a class name of article right here. I'll go to the global styles, at our styles, click on this one, and I'll say dot article, and then img. And now right here, I can be able to include the width to be 100%, and I can include a border radius of about 7px. So I'll go ahead and save, and that should style that image inside the article. And now there you go, it's a bit smaller, but now the height is messed up. I'll come back to the shrug, and right here where we have the height, I'll actually remove this, and I'll set this one to be outer. So I'll save, and hopefully now the height is fixed, and there we go. So this looks much better. So now you can be able to embed different images and they'll show up in your content. Cool. Now if we come back to Contentful right here, you'll see that we have this for adding some code blocks. I'll come right here and I'll select this code, so it's kind of auto formatted and publish. And now it's just formatted the text. So this will be an issue to style this in form of a code block. So I want to show you a way in which you can go about this one. So how you can do it, inside our contentful, I will copy this. Actually, I'll just like cut it, and what I will do is that I'll go to content model and I'll add a new content type. And now right here I can add code block, and you can add the description if you want. I'll just go ahead and create, and then we can go ahead and add a field. So we should be having a name to this one. So I'll go ahead and add text field, and I'll say this is the name of that code block. It can be short text. I'll create and configure, and let this represent the entry title. For validation, you can make it to be required and also to be unique, and appearance single line. So I'll go ahead and confirm, and then I'll add another field, and this one now will be text again. It will be long text. I can give it a name of the code content, and I'll go ahead, create and configure the settings. We can go to validation, let it be required, and then the appearance, let it be markdown, and I'll confirm, and then I'll go ahead and save. And now what you can do, you can be using this content model to be adding your code blocks. Okay, so inside the content, you can add the content for the code block, that is the content type. So right here you can select code block, and you can come here, add code block to this one, and you'll give your code block a name. For example, you can include, let's say, get static props. So this is a code block for get static props, and then right here now you can like paste that code. So what I'll do, I'll come to this one and I'll copy a function for get static props. I'll copy this one and I'll paste it here, and I'll go ahead and publish. Okay, so what have we done? We have created a content model for the code block. So this, you can be using it for the different code blocks which you want, and then we have added content for that particular code block. So we have added one of them, so you can filter right here which one you want, and now we can be able to embed this code block inside our blog. So let's try that. So I'll come to Next.js, and now instead of including the low text that we were typing here, we can go ahead and add an entry right here, and it will be this one, not inline, this one. And now right here I can go to code block, you can filter and you select the one that you want, get static props, and it's embedded right there, and I'll go ahead and publish. Now when we do this and come right here and refresh, let's see what we have so far. So you'll see that we are seeing nothing right here. So we need to go to our code and fix that. So at our code, we were able to do this, like we remained with this one. So this is an embedded entry. Our code block is an embedded entry. And what we should change is this one right here. And that is the name of the field. Okay, so for our case, we included it as code content. So I'll go ahead and save, and now right here we should be able to see something like this. So now we have our code right here. Now the cool thing of including it as an embedded entry is that we can now be able to style this separately, which will be tricky if we just like used this. Okay, so there's no way to just like access that particular code block and style it, but when we use the render options, we can be able to style it right here. And I'll make use of highlight.js to style this one. So right here I'll go ahead and import highlight, and this will come from React hyphen highlight. So this is Highlight.js, a library that is used to like format code blocks and yeah, to include different styles. So we also need to import the CSS for this, or a theme for this one. So let me show you how you can do that. If you come to node modules and then you go to Highlight.js, they are alphabetically arranged, so you can scroll up to H. Why is H? Let me scroll nicely. Here we have H. Now we have Highlight.js right here. And then when you expand that, you'll have styles. Inside the styles, you'll have all these CSS styles, all these CSS files, and all these CSS files are different themes that you can choose. And in this case, I'm going to try the first one right here. So how can you import this one? Importing this one is so easy in Next.js. So you can go ahead and say import, and I'll use this one, the quotes, and I'll say highlight. Now this is the name of the folder, this one right here inside the node modules. So I'll say highlight and .js, that is the name of the folder. And then stroke, we go to styles, and then stroke. Now right here you can include the name of CSS file that you want to use, and all these are different themes that you can make use of. So I'll say a, and then one, and y hyphen dark, and then .css. So I'll go ahead and save that. And now down here, I can make use of this highlight to wrap our content right here. So right here, I'll say highlight, and I'll cut that and paste it down here. And another cool thing is that we can specify the language using class name. So I'll say class name, and our language is JavaScript. So I'll go ahead and save, and hopefully we have like styled it. Okay, so I'll come to this one, and failed to compile. So I messed the spelling again. So I'll go ahead and fix it. I'll save, refresh, and now down here, there we go. We are able to display our code block with a nice style. Now all you'll be doing is to add the code blocks inside the this particular content model code block, okay? And then you'll be able to like display them nicely. So now you can like try these other themes right here. Let me try this one, ata.css, and see how it looks like. So I'll say ata.css, and then I'll come back. Let's see what it looks like. It looks like this. Pretty awesome still. And that's it for this video. So it was a bit long, but the reason is for the embedded assets and stuff. And yeah, that's pretty cool. And that is how you can display the content of your blog. And this video was more about Contentful than Next.js, but in the next video we are going ahead and deploy this application, and I'll be showing you something else called incremental static regeneration. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.